Welcome to my channel, and I'm here to inspire you, give you crochet advice, and help you along with your next project. If you enjoyed this pattern, please give me a thumbs up or even comment so I can gauge your interest. It helps me to know what to film next. I'm not very formal. Here's today's zinger. You know, I'm so educated. I'm working on my PhD. I know, project's half done. Without further ado, let's get on with today's tutorial. Hey, welcome back to the Crochet Crowd as well as my friends over at yarnspirations.com. Got a simple pattern for you today. If you're an experienced crocheter, this is a walk in the park. This is a draft dodger. This is for blocking those drafts underneath the door or near a window, just in case you have that issue. You can customize the length. This one here is 38 inches, which matches my door. I went about 3 inches after the door stop so that it had extra. And what you want to do is when you stuff this, you don't want to be so tight that it's just going to be like a big friggin' sausage. You want it so that it's softer, so that when it sits into the door it wants to collapse as part of it so that it can actually block. If it's too rigid, for example, you would probably not have a complete seal that you would probably want. So it's a neat idea. You'll use a 5.5 millimeter size size I crochet hook. I used Caron Cakes here. What I did is that I used one full ball and I used the exterior strand and the interior strand together, so I marled it together. And so if you lay it flat like this and put it beside you on the floor, when it comes up to your hands it'll unravel from the outside and the interior and it should not roll. You can put it in a bowl if you wish, or you can just use two separate Caron Cakes if you want to, or any other kind of yarn that you prefer, and you can just rip your way through this. Really nice and simple. It's a very easy beginning, and then once you get to a certain point you're just going to continue to rotate around and around and around. Once you get to about your 38 inches we're then going to do a decrease. So the one that you see here, I have to do the decrease. You're going to want to stuff as you go because you can't get your arm all the way through this. You know, at least I couldn't. I even tried a broom handle because of that. So I would recommend that you stuff just periodically as you go, because getting all the way to the base of it might be difficult. So let me show you how to do this really simple project, and let's begin that now. So let's begin. Just create a little yarn tail. You'll use it as a stitch marker to help you count just the first few revolutions, and then once you get to the diameter you can just go around and around and around and you won't have to move that stitch marker until the very end. You'll put it back in and then we'll do a decrease. So let's start, and we'll create a slip knot to begin, and use the two strands together as if they're one. It will solid up this yarn nicely so that it will be really quite a durable project. So let's begin that, and you're going to chain 2. So 1 and 2, that is your beginning chain. Let's begin round number 1 there. So let's begin round number 1, second chain from the hook. I need you to go into the back, or sorry, into the second chain, and I want you to put in 6 single crochet. So 1, and if you're not used to doing 2 strands at one time it gets a little cumbersome at the beginning, but you'll get used to it hopefully. Some people never do. So that was 3, 4, 5 and 6. Now I'm going to go into continuous revolution. This means that I'm not going to do any slip stitching, so you don't see any those lines down through the whole project. So insert your hook underneath the last stitch and pull a stitch marker through. This will tell you when you've come all the way around, and you're only going to use this for a little bit and then you're going to get rid of it later and bring it back at the end of the project. So now when we go to start round number 2, you're immediately going to jump into the next one here and continue and make that snailing kind of spiral. Let's begin round number 2. In round number 2, if you're not sure which one it is, it's the 6th one back, so you can count it back. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and 6, so it's right there. And I need you to apply 2 single crochet in each of the stitches going around. So if you weren't watching me, what I like to do is that I say in the first one I go 1 and 1, and then in the next one I say 2 and 2, and then the next one is 3 and 3 and 4, 4, 5 and 5 and 6 and 6. And I normally do that for the first time that I'm really doing the increase so that I make sure I get it. And once you get to the very final one, the second one of the 2 of the last, move that stitch marker up and pull it through so that you can see where that is in the future, because we're not quite done growing this thing out. Let's move on to round number 3. Let's move on to round number 3. So starting in the very next stitch, it's gonna be easier now, and you're just gonna say to yourself, there's 1 into this stitch and then there's 2 into the next. So 1 and 2, and you're gonna do that all the way to this to the stitch marker. So there's gonna be 1 by itself and then 2 into the next. So 1 and 2. So 1 into the next and then 2 into the next one. So 1 and 2, 1 into the next, and then there's 2 into this one, 1 into the next one, 2 into the one after that. Do you get the repeat pattern? Hopefully so. So 1 into the next one, and the very last stitch should have the 2 into the same stitch. Okay, and that was round number 3. Move that stitch marker up again so you can find it in the future. And let's move on then to the 4th round. In the 4th round, this is gonna be the final increase, and then you're gonna do the tube shape all the way to the amount of inches that you want. So in the 4th round, you're just gonna say the first 2 are by themselves. So 1 is by itself and 2 is by itself, and the next one has 2 into the same one. Okay, that's your repeat. So 1 by itself, make sure you grab both strands. So 1 by itself and 2 by itself, and then 2 into the same one. So we're repeating that around. So 1 by itself, 2 by itself, and then 2 into the next. Okay, and then you got 1 by itself, 2 by itself, and 2 into the next. Okay, 1 by itself, 2 by itself, and then 2 into the next. And then finish this one off. So 1 by itself, 2 by itself, and then the last one is 2 into the same. So we know that our stitch counts are right. If you're off, nobody's gonna be on their hands and knees looking at your your project. Well, hopefully not. So that's it. So what you can do, you can move up your stitch marker if you really feel like it and just leave it there. But now the remaining of the tube shape is just gonna be 1 single crochet into each. So let's just review that. So the 5th round, all the way to the amount of inches, in my case it was 38, is all the same. So you're just gonna turn on the television and just place in 1 single crochet into each, or turn on the radio if you're still listening to radio these days, and just put that on and just do 1 single crochet, and you're gonna continually wrap around rotate around this. And what I do recommend is that you lightly stuff as you go. It's too hard to get your hand in there. I even wrote the instructions to stuff as they go, and I didn't bother, and so it came to the end, I really created like a half hour's worth of work of frustration trying to get the stuffing all the way to the bottom of the tube. So stuff as you go, just lightly. You don't want it so that it's so firm that when you hit it, it's like a pinata. you want it to have a little bit of play so that it can suck into the crease really quite nicely, so it can just rest instead of just kind of fighting the shape. So just as you go across a stitch marker, you don't have to move it. You're just doing 1 single crochet into each, and you'll notice that the tube shape will happen. So let me just do a couple more rounds, and you're gonna go all the way to the length. You can measure a door stop or wherever you're wanting to use this for your length, and then once you're ready for the decrease, we're gonna be covering that next, and I'll be right back in a moment. So I'm bringing back my other sample because I do want to finish it, and it's lightly stuffed. You can see the give that I've given it, so it's not like it's just like touch it and I'm really trying to force it to be flat. I want it to be soft. So I'm going to just put in my stitch marker again on the last stitch when I thought it was 38 inches, which I think it is, which I know it is for sure. I measured it, and so I'm just gonna put my stitch marker on there so that I can measure the amount of rounds that I need to do in order to start the decrease. So in the instructions, we're starting with the next round after we begin, after we've got the length done, and now we're gonna start with our first decreasing. Let's do that next. So I'm gonna show you a little technique that I learned, and this is a really neat idea. So in the first two, they're gonna be by itself. So you'll say 1 and 2 is by itself. And if you really want a beautiful decrease, what you can do, and let me just zoom you in there just carefully there. If you go into the first one and pull through, and next one and pull through, and do this, that's a 2 together, you end up with a lump. How you can avoid that, and this is a great tip, is that if you go into the first one, go into the front loop only, like that, and then go in, so rotate the hook and pick the second one up and go straight up as well, like that. I'll show you this again in the future. So then you're gonna pull through and then pull through 2, and what this is doing, it's, see, there's no lump, it just does a decrease. So let's just do the next 2 by itself. So 1 and 2, and let me show you that technique again. So just go up through the front loop only, and then go and collect the next front loop only, pull through and pull through 2, and you're gonna do that all the way around. So 1 and 2 is by itself, and then 2 together. Because we're using 2 strands at one time, you gotta make sure you get both of those. And I'm going all the way to the stitch marker. So the tube shape gets really quite long in your lap. So 1 and 2, and the last 2 stitches, if your counts are right, will be the 2 together when you get there. And there's a stitch marker, so this is the last one, 2 together. And then once you come all the way around, just move that stitch marker up, and then you're ready for the next round to decrease even more. So make sure this is stuffed as much as you want, and continue along. Let's start your next round, and then the next one is gonna be 1 by itself, and then the next one is 2 together, and I'm still gonna use the same technique to do that. And you wanna do that all the way around. So 1 by itself, and 2 together, one by itself. I'm just gonna zoom you out a little bit here. Got this thing hanging between my legs, just underneath the desk here. So 2 together and 1 by itself, 2 together, one by itself, 2 together, one by itself, and then if my counts are right, the last one is 2 together. And that's it. So move that stitch marker up again, and we're gonna continue to the next round. Okay, this is your last round, and so you're just gonna apply 2 together all the way around. This is really gonna narrow it off. And so it will leave you back with 6 stitches, and what we're going to do at the end of that is that we're going to leave a long tail, and we are going to pull everything shut. Now this is a tube shape idea, so it doesn't mean that you have to be so accurate. You can flub your way along, I suppose. So this really could be a beginner kind of project, just as a practice run. And then the last 2 are together as well, and then that will be it. Now you can pull your stitch marker out, and I need you to leave a longer tail on this thing. So let's do that, and just pull that up. So this is gonna leave a little hole of about 6, like there. So what I wanted to do is grab a tapestry needle, and I want to collect the remaining of those loops or the stitches. So just looking at it, okay, and then one more. Okay, and then just pull on it and it will close it down. So in order to get rid of any loose ends, you just want to make sure that you just have it look nice. So once you're happy with it, just create a little knot so that it won't come out. And then I want you to go into the project itself and then back through a slightly different path. And then one more time. So do it 3 times. And then you can cut it right to the project itself. And then you can just shape it. And then that would be your our door dodger or draft dodger. And this is kind of a neat idea. So a really great little project if you're looking to burn away some stash and also looking to keep your house a little bit warmer to keep the draft off you. It's a great little project. Have a good one. We hope to see you again real soon. Bye bye.